almost feel like Gordon Bombay would have taken his career to even further heights.
Everything's flashy, everything's cocaine, everything's
Fun.
Open wide for some soccer.
I don't care what you think about what your personal thoughts are at home. I care that you hate the Cowboys.
Call this college rule.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Experience Podcast. I'm Chris with my friend Dom, couple of comics talking sports, and who we talking about today?
When you go through the annals of NFL history and you talk about some of the all-time bonehead plays, you might read about a former Miami Dolphins kicker named Ray Finkle.
That's right, and that's who we're bringing up today.
Ray Finkle, born June 27th, 1958 in Naples, Florida, was an only child to Bill, a mechanic, and Clara, a housewife, Finkle, and grew up in a very popular soccer area. He was a very good soccer player.
I was going to say, this is where he becomes one of these kickers because he wasn't like a usual football player like we think. You know, he's a usual kicker like we think.
Yeah, he played for the youth team, the Collier Chargers, did quite well for them, and was played from about the time he was 5 up until he entered high school at 14. And it was at soccer practice one day that his high school coach found him and was like, those balls are going pretty far.
At Collier High.
At Collier High, yeah. Mm-hmm. And put him on the football team, and 4-year starter at kicker. His leg was so strong, they nicknamed him the Mule.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Great kicker.
And, well, this is what I find so interesting was he pretty much put soccer on the back burner once he became, a kicker.
Yeah. All-state his last 2 years there, played from 72 to 75. His team won the state championship in 1975.
That's right.
Which is pretty impressive. Yeah. And he did want to stay close to home for college. Don't have a lot of scholarships for kickers to begin with. So he attended Stetson University there in Florida.
In Florida, yeah.
Yeah, the Stetson Hatters, actually.
Nice.
Comes right in. He also plays soccer there, too. Mm-hmm.
But definitely it's not the forefront. He's definitely his main focus is kicking and football, and soccer isn't as popular in this time. I mean, this is 1977, 70,
Yeah, no one's really opening wide for some soccer.
Exactly. So he's being encouraged to get into football.
Get into football. And while Stetson is at the 1AA level, he sets 2 NCAA records his senior season. Yeah, most for points in a season and 1 for distance. He kicked a 66-yard field goal.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, and I wonder if it contributed, but this is when he started to grow his famous mustache.
Oh, that mustache is killer, man.
And this is the senior year that people said, hey, that mustache took them to the point record.
That mustache says diners, drive-ins, and muff dives.
That's
right.
What
it did.
That's right.
But because he's a kicker and because he goes to a small school, he goes undrafted in the 1980 NFL draft. Luckily for him, he wants to continue his kicking career, although he did graduate with honors, degree in criminal justice.
Oh.
Actually, yeah.
Interesting.
So people were saying that one of his dreams, if he couldn't play soccer or football, was he would become a police officer and rise through the ranks of the police force. But he gets a contract offer from the Edmonton Eskimos of the Canadian Football League. He goes up there actually at a really good time to where they have a very famous quarterback on their team.
And who is that?
Warren Moon.
Warren Moon.
And what they're doing is winning Grey Cups.
And I'll be honest, he was putting up points so much that, like with Moon, where he got the attention of the NFL, so did Ray Finkle. And they were like, man, this is a solid kicker.
We came here for Moon, but we're staying for the mustache.
That's right.
That's right. And wins 3 Grey Cups, his first 3 years there. Unfortunately, Moon leaves after the 3rd year. And Finkle didn't really appreciate it that much, only because Moon was his holder. And one of the things that he liked to do was hold the laces out when he was kicking. Because for those of you who don't know, you hold the laces in, you're not really going to make a good kick.
No, it's a messed up hold, if you will. And he really,
There's a comfortability factor.
Yes. It's almost like a pitcher and a catcher where he's just like, well, he knows all my pitches. Well, he literally knows, like, I need the laces to be out.
Yeah, you need the laces out. I mean, him and Moon fit together like a glove. Mm-hmm. But so in 1984, he's prepared to go start the season with the Eskimos, but he gets a call from the Miami Dolphins. he gets a call from the Miami Dolphins to try out at kicker because their previous starter, Uwe von Schaman, got injured.
So it's mid-season.
It is mid-season, week 6.
I was going to say, I believe it was week 6, and they call him in to be the replacement kicker for the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah, and he goes to the tryout and absolutely dominates. And this is like a feel-good story, okay? A guy from Florida comes home, gets his shot with the Dolphins, and the Dolphins in '84 were awesome. They had the Marks brothers, the wide receivers, Mark Clayton and Mark Duper on offense. They still had the last kind of gasp of that Killer Bees defense, and a second-year quarterback who had assumed the starting job the previous season by the name of Dan Marino.
Big Dan Marino. So everything's looking up for this Dolphins team.
Well, and they came out guns blazing that year. Marino, this was the year that he threw for over 5,000 yards. This was the year that he had 48 touchdown passes, and nobody knows how to stop this offense, and Finkle is their special teams ace.
Well, he is reliable. That's the thing that I feel like we've brought up before is you never think about kickers until they start missing. Mm-hmm. And throughout this whole season, I believe he misses one kick. And we're looking at it for the whole regular season coming in. It's such a
perfect on extra points.
Yep. It's such a great pickup for them because literally they're like, oh man, there goes our number one kicker. And they literally fill somebody in who's better.
Yeah.
So.
Your Pro Bowl kicker is replaced by another Pro Bowl kicker.
Exactly.
And they go 14-2 that year, the Dolphins, which is, I mean, number 1 seed in the AFC. Everyone is expecting them to roll through the playoffs. Things are lining right up. This guy is living the greatest dream ever.
Well, we talk about this where there's points in these guys' careers where they're just like, well, I'm just going to be a CFL kicker. You know what I mean? He's probably had those thoughts. And then literally mid-season through this where they're just dominating and he's just like, oh, I'm an awesome NFL kicker.
Right.
And that's the change that I love.
And as we talked about on our Theismann episode,
Yep.
Do you want to be freezing in Canada or do you want to go to Miami? I feel like that was a good life decision for him.
It's a great additive for him. He's just like, well, of course I want to be in Miami. What are we doing here?
Yeah, so playoffs begin. First round, they play the Seahawks and absolutely trounce them in the divisional round. And then they go to the AFC Championship game where they play the underdog Pittsburgh Steelers, which is an important game for Marino because in the '83 draft, they had passed on him.
Yes.
And in this game, they decided to make the poor choice of blitzing Marino, and he lit them up. He just lit them up with the Marks brothers and Nat Moore. It was a 48-24 ass kicking, and the Miami Dolphins were headed to Super Bowl 19. Ray Finkle, mid-season, does awesome. Team does awesome. Going to the Super Bowl.
I mean, it really is a story that you don't really hear much about. This guy who was almost passed like, kind of like Marino was by the Steelers. And then...
Did you know he was the only professional athlete to come out of Collier County?
That's right.
Yep, he is one hell of a model American. But anyway, they go to the Super Bowl and play the San Francisco 49ers, led by Joe Montana. That year, the 49ers were actually 15-1. And they had a great offense led by Montana, Roger Craig, Freddie Solomon, those guys, and a very stout defense with Fred Dean and the likes of Eric Wright and Keena Turner. And it's a very close Super Bowl. It's just one of those back and forth affairs, probably one of the best ones up to that point.
I was going to say it is very much a back and forth. You say Marino, Montana, back and forth, but the defenses were both sticking in too. And I mean, yeah, great Super Bowl.
Yeah, a fantastic Super Bowl. So with Marino gets the ball, they're down 24-23. They're at their own 15-yard line with about a minute 50 to go. Marino on a couple of passes to Clayton and Duper takes them all the way down inside the red zone with 5 seconds to play. And someone's coming in to be the hero, right?
Well, you look at this as one of the greatest Super Bowl drives ever.
Yeah.
And they get Finkle in literally for almost like a chip.
Yeah, they get down
for
to
him.
the San Francisco 8-yard line. It's a 26-yard field goal. And, well, things don't actually work out so well.
Well, this is why you probably don't know Ray as well as you probably should, because this is where his story takes a different turn. Dan Marino holding the kick, which is very normal.
It was a great snap.
Great snap. There was no problem.
It appeared to be a good hold from Marino.
Hey, man, this is the controversy that will go forever on, is were the laces in?
Yeah. And Finkle, who claimed the laces were in, completely shanks the kick. And it looked horrible.
So bad that
it almost hit the popcorn guy in the third row.
That's what I mean. It was horrible shank to where you might think the laces were in. It's hard to say.
It's hard to say. They didn't have those XFL camera angles that we know and love today.
Marino came out after the game and said that it was a good hold.
Yeah.
That was his statement on it, kind of throwing Finkle further under the bus, if
he
you will.
threw him way under the bus in those interviews. And it was only Dan Marino's actually first Super Bowl appearance as well.
Well, this is why you don't know that Super Bowl drive, because it turned out to be nothing. That's the thing that's so crazy about it, was like we'd be talking about this as Ray Finkle as like the greatest story mid-season kicker coming in, and now
he would have been Adam Vinatieri before Adam Vinatieri.
Now we're literally talking about him in his last NFL game.
It was his last NFL game, because what ended up happening is his teammates shunned him. The media was all over him. And even his hometown fans were like graffitiing his house, breaking in, doing terrible things. And the depression got to him.
I was going to say it became a mental thing where I don't even think he could have gotten back into the NFL mindset.
Definitely a guy who buckled under the pressure.
That's right.
Yeah. So throughout the offseason, everyone's assuming he's going to come back. But he basically has a nervous breakdown. Like, essentially just mental health goes completely out the window and doesn't show up for training camp. Nobody can get a hold of him. And they end up finding him in an Arby's restroom sobbing, and then decide to take some action.
Well, and then they they put him into a mental health facility.
Shady Acres in Tampa. That's right.
Shady Acres.
Yeah, they go to send him there. And he's really never heard from again. Like after that whole Arby's incident, he's whisked away to Shady Acres and pretty much lost to history.
Well, this is what I found so interesting, because we kind of lose these guys when they drift out of the limelight. Is he went and kind of got his mental health wherever it needed to be, and then left Shady Acres, and then you don't really hear about him anymore.
He kind of disappeared. And the worst was all the media, everyone's looking for him, like his dad would talk about anybody who came to the door if they're one of them hard copy guys, because hard copy was very popular at the time. And about 10 years pass, and I bring this up because the Dolphins are going back to the Super Bowl.
Not only are they going back to the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl is being held in Miami.
First team to do it.
It is one of the coolest things, I'm just saying.
That's right, yeah. And leading up into the Super Bowl week, and we're talking about the Dolphins, by the way. They're playing the Eagles. They have some odd things begin to happen.
Well, they have a live dolphin as their mascot.
Named Snowflake.
And Snowflake gets kidnapped.
Snowflake, yeah. For whatever reason, Snowflake ends up getting kidnapped. And he was the most beloved mascot on the NFL. He kicked field goals.
I just
touchdowns.
wanted to point this out, because some people were talking about it almost being like cheeky shenanigans, like it's almost like college rival teams stealing each other's mascots. But the Dolphins were very concerned, because they were like, well, the Eagles didn't steal our mascot. We're not crazy here.
Yeah.
This could be like legitimately vindictive. And he was also our backup kickers.
Yeah, right. He was the backup kicker. He also wore Finkle's number 5, oddly enough.
Well, they tried to retire it for various reasons, but that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, give it to a Dolphin. That's the way it should be going. But Snowflake is gone, and the Dolphins decide to enlist the help of, kind of a freelance member of the law enforcement.
Well, this is what I mean, was they brought it to the police officers, and they were almost being like, we'll find it, but it's like a dolphin. So they literally had to go and find and I read this in a newspaper. I don't even know if this is a real thing, but a pet detective.
Yeah, a pet detective. But this guy is arguably one of the best. Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say,
probably
in retrospect,
like
2020 hindsight, we're like, God, that was a great hire. But
do you know we found an albino pigeon once?
Whoa.
I know, right?
I didn't even know those existed.
Neither did I, but I'm still afraid of them. But anyway, this pet detective is someone we'll just say is down with LOC, for those of you kids from the 90s. He starts doing some digging as to where this dolphin would have went, and he cleaned the tank, he dusted for fingerprints, everything, and he found a rare triangular orange amber in there. And because of his detective work, he found that it's rare enough to where he could pinpoint who maybe have had this on a ring.
Well, it really only, that shape, that cut, that stone really only came from one ring, and it was
a 1984 Dolphins AFC championship ring. Yeah. So he goes out and he starts doing some interviews, starts doing more of that crack detective work, and he comes to realize that nobody in the team's photo from the beginning of the year.
Well, he goes to their entire team. Literally, anybody that has any association with the Dolphins in that year, he literally goes to the entire photo.
He was hiding in mailboxes, following guys into men's rooms.
One of the greatest. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the time he ethered a guy, but one of the greatest detectives out there. And he went through every single possibility, and he kind of came to the realization that the ring might not be...
It might not exist. It might be another kind of ring.
Exactly.
But while going through some of the Dolphins' old archives, he finds another photo of the 1984 Dolphins.
And he immediately notices a beautiful mustache and said, "Who is that gentleman? Because I want to take him for dinner."
And he realizes it's Ray Finkle, and he is the only person who he hasn't checked his ring.
That's right.
And
on top of that, Ray Finkle, and he doesn't know this because he doesn't know anything about sports.
No.
But Ray Finkle is the villain of this the Super Bowl. So, I mean, the plot thickens even further.
So he goes on this almost wild goose chase to try and find him. He even goes to his house, and he sees some very disturbing things in the house. It was reported that he said it was cozy if you're Hannibal Lecter. A lot of anti-Dan Marino memorabilia in there.
Well, this is where we realize that Ray completely blames Dan Marino for the missed kick because he felt like the laces were in. The report is, and this is substantiated, I guess, but it says that he had "Die Dan Die" written all over his room.
Absolutely. Just very disturbing. But what he finds out, because this is his room in his parents' house.
That's right.
Right? And his parents don't know where he is. They haven't seen him since he went to the mental hospital. And now he's on a very wild goose chase to where what ends up happening is...
Well, this is what gets super scary is...
Yeah.
We see there's another kidnapping.
Yeah. Well, before that kidnapping, what he figures out is he goes to Shady Acres to see if he's still there. Not there anymore because his dad had told him, but he's going through a storage closet and finds a box of Ray Finkle's stuff. Mm-hmm. Ripped up isotoners, Die Dan Die on little tea koozies, which was very off. But he finds a newspaper in there. And the newspaper said officers were unable to locate the body of Lois Einhorn, a hiker missing since Friday. I bring this up because Lois Einhorn is the man's boss.
So, I mean, she is definitely the lead detective in this.
She's the lead detective. But what ends up happening for this specific detective, he has to figure out how both Lois and Ray are linked. Yeah. So he does a lot of thinking. And what ends up happening, what he ends up finding out, they're the same person.
Well, this is what is so interesting is Lois Einhorn, the actual person, did die in a hiking accident, and Ray Finkle just assumed her identity and had all of this is what I found so ridiculous, was he had all this criminal knowledge because he actually went to college for that. So when he assumed this woman's identity, there really wasn't any, obvious things that he wasn't a police officer.
Yeah. And what ends up transpiring is because Snowflake is captured, there's someone else kidnapped, as you said before. And who was that, Chris?
Well, this is where it gets serious, is Dan Marino now gets kidnapped.
During an Isotoners commercial.
That's
Can you
right.
believe that? So he's whisked away, kidnapped. The Dolphin is missing. Marino is missing.
And really the only one on the case, the only one that's really has any kind of finger on the beat of this is the pet detective.
Is the pet detective, because someone's gun is digging into someone's hip.
That's right.
Yeah, but he goes around, he's trying to find them, and eventually tracks them down to an abandoned warehouse by the ocean. What does he find? He finds the Dolphin and a tied-up Dan Marino. He also finds Ray Finkle / Lois Einhorn with a gun, calling the cops to the warehouse, and they're surrounded. Only Finkle / Einhorn has the cops thinking Ace is the one that kidnapped. Or
That's right.
The pet detective.
Is the one that was the culprit here. And which is kind of silly because obviously Dan Marino would shoot that hole. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's she's trying to get him to shoot the pet detective. And what happens is he reveals that she's actually Ray Finkle.
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of surgery can be done over the weekend, Chris.
That's
right. He reveals it, and they make the arrest. They bring Dan Marino back to the Super Bowl for the second half, and the mascot.
And mascot.
And the mascot. And the Dolphins win the Super Bowl.
Now that's a feel-good story. I'll tell you what, I didn't think it was going to come all the way back around because Ray Finkle was so crazy, but that's just what we do here at the Sports Experience Podcast. It's not always happy stories. It's not always the best stories. It's literally some of the wild ones.
And Finkle is currently serving a life sentence for attempted murder and kidnapping of a person and a dolphin. So there you go.